Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Yes, the three amigos are back. This is something we did 2 weeks ago, and we got wonderful feedback on One Rental at a Time and other channels. So let's welcome Dion from Dion Talk and Matt from Lumberjack Landlord. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Doing great, Mike. I had some threesome jokes ready, but that seems like a one-time thing. And since we're doing this again, it's more of a throuple. So we'll go.
Yeah, I was going to say, based on what I'm seeing on my camera, hopefully I can do
nope.
better.
I'm out. That is hilarious. Well, hey, one thing I want to do is we're sitting here July 1st. I have always used July 4th, right? Kind of is that time to look at where I'm at in the year, right? Am I on track with what I want? Am I ahead? Do I need to reset? All of those things. So, what I'm gonna do here is we're gonna talk about some crazy predictions I had over the last 6 months, where we're at, and we're running pretty good. So you guys ready for that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
So the first one that I'll put out, and again, I love my audience because they're all sending me articles and they're like, "Hey, Michael, you got this one. You got this one." Just this morning, another federal organization, this one called Ginnie Mae, Ginnnie, whatever. But now they are approving and buying 40-year mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see or hear that?
Did.
Yeah. So basically what they're doing, in my opinion, and I called for this like 6 months ago, part of the avoidable foreclosures, which will be the topic of the next 6 to 9 months. A lot of those people that didn't pay for 12 months, they're going to get a second, and they're going to get a new amortized first, which will go up to 40 years. And what the federal organization is basically saying is, we will now have a buy box for 40-year mortgages, which they never have had before. Hence, they were never used, right? No, if you don't have a way as a bank to sell your mortgages, which a lot of institutions do, they don't have the program. Now, at least we have 40-year mortgages as an option. Currently, only for people in forbearance, but I'm willing to bet that that's where it starts. That's not where it finishes.
It's government policy, right?
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, that felt good. Let's do that again.
Sure.
So I'm going to guess 40-year mortgages are a thing, probably not in the too distant future, maybe 22, maybe 23. But what do you guys think about 40-year mortgages and the value of homes? I guess we'll go to Matt first.
At the risk of being wrong, I think it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen 1,000%. That's one way to make something really affordable, is by just adding another 10 years onto the amortization of the thing, right? And just another 10, only another 10 years of payments, another 120 payments between you and another government entity, or your bank servicing the loan. I mean, it's going to happen. And I think that, there's right scenarios to do it. There's wrong scenarios to do it, right? Just like there always are. And if you're looking at making things affordable, there's nothing that makes them more affordable than giving you another 10 years of payments. I mean, then you can have the rate around where it is now, right? And you can elongate the time that the rate remains that, and you get a 40-year mortgage. Yeah, I get it. It's going to be, it's better for I think it's better for the government to do it that way. For other people, like for example, for us, we're not getting a $25,000 credit at closing, right? Mm-mm. And so if you can get a 40-year product, I think I rather see a 40-year product in the market than see a bunch of handout money at closing. Mm-hmm. I'd rather see that option for people, because I think that makes for healthier decisions.
Yeah. How about you, Dan? When you hear 40-year mortgage, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, the really cool thing about reaching financial freedom for all three of us is we can usually speak our mind and not care what someone thinks. I mean, for the most part. And
I did that before, but now it's even better.
Over the last few months, we've had several conversations talking about a 40-year mortgage. And every time I made a comment in a post on Real Estate Rookie Facebook group or the Bigger Pockets official group, I would get attacked. Some would claim to be lenders, some would claim to be investors, and I've never heard of 40-year. It will never happen. And so now, if the only way to get it is to be on forbearance, go on forbearance.
Yeah.
And then it's available to everybody.
Yeah.
So that's the first step, and it's a gateway drug.
Yeah.
As soon as it's available to somebody, it will, other people will start to see the demand, so it'll be available. So I definitely, as an investor who focuses on cash flow, I don't really care or plan on mortgages being paid off. So 40 years looks attractive. I mean, it's like the debate now as an investor, which do you prefer, 15-year or 30-year? I've chosen 30-year every time. So I think mathematically it might make sense to go with a shorter mortgage, but I like cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's a couple of things going to happen. First, I love that gateway comment. That's exactly right. They're going to use it here. It'll be used there for 6 months. There'll be 500, 700, 800,000 people that have 40-year mortgages. Then suddenly people are squawk, why not me? Why not me? And, in a year, maybe 2, it'll be just as common. It'll be an option that we can all have. They may make it only for owner occs. They may not give it to investors, right? I could see that, being, because again, that's how they're going to do it, right? It wouldn't come out for everyone. I could really see them just making an owner occ loan, not investor loan. I think that probably makes sense. But
so chalk one up for house hacking.
Yeah, exactly. House hacking wins again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Matt, we got to get you on my Facebook group. We had some questions in the Facebook group about house hacking just today. So I took a shot, but I got to add you to the group if I haven't already. We got to get the expert coming in.
Yeah.
I'm
happy to do it. Yeah.
But the other thing is, when I see it, it's one of these things that's going to feel good in the moment.
Yeah.
But won't feel good 24 months from now, or 24 months after it happens. Because what will happen is prices will almost immediately start to rise. And if you want a sample of this, just look at new cars, right? Look at the Cadillac and the SUVs and all of these things. When did prices really go up? Well, when they stopped using 60-month or 5 years, and they went to 7 and 10 and 12 year payment terms for cars. Now they're $100,000, right? When I was looking at them decades ago, they were $40,000 or $50,000. A lot of it's because of financing, and it's all about the payment.
Of course.
So I'm really torn. I think a 30-year mortgage is a long time, but I was raised, or I believe it's something that most people could pay off. Once you start getting to 40 and the average life expectancy in life, I mean, pretty soon it's like, I'm going to have a mortgage till I'm dead. I just don't know how I feel about that. Right. I don't know. But I think it's going to happen. I think price is going to go up. I own just a few homes, so I'll take the increased appreciation. I won't get any 40-year mortgages at this point, right? But I'm near the end, not the beginning. So it's just crazy. So 40-year mortgage was number 1 topic. Number 2, inventory. So you guys have heard me talk about inventory going up to potentially 2 million. That was my call, 2 million by the end of July. Man, I got 30 days. We'll see what happens. But just today, an article came out with June numbers. So this was like really fast, right? July 1st, June numbers. And they're saying new listings are up 5.5% from May. 5.5% year on year.
Yes.
10.9% month on month. 10 markets posted 20% increase. The largest ones were Milwaukee, 45% increase in listings in 1 month. Cleveland, Ohio, 38%. Columbus, Ohio, 26%. And right in my backyard, Silicon Valley, San Jose, California, up 41%. Folks, listings are coming just like we all said. What have you guys been seeing in your markets?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we're starting to see inventory, when we were talking back in February and March, Mike, and we were talking about, I think at the time there might've been 6 multis, between 2 and 4 in my market, where there was normally a list of about 75. And now it's still not that impressive of a list, but it's not 4 or 5. Now I think it's maybe 16 or 17. So it's triple, or almost quadruple. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely seeing it more now. What I'm seeing more now is what we talked about kind of on the back end of more inventory is price reduction.
Exactly.
The crap is starting to finally ease down. And that's where guys like us a lot of times find value.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, come on, crap. So I've started to see some price reduction. I've started to see, like, we went through your do work spreadsheet of like 10 10 panels.
Yep.
I think we had 6 or 7 of them. And so we're starting to see that the crazy thing is on the affordability side, we're still at a 4. And so it's still hitting the market. The prices are, the cap rates are ridiculous. The prices are still ridiculous. And so I think that if you're sub 3.25, your house is still gone the first week it's on the market.
Yeah.
But if you're in that 4s, 5s, 6s range, you're sitting a little bit. It's not the instantaneous sale that it was even 60 or 90 days ago.
Yeah. What are you seeing, Dion?
More inventory and a lot of properties that sell for over asking, 20, 30, $40,000 over asking, get the news. They get the spotlight on them. Pretty much every investor that I've talked to has purchased properties at asking or starting to get below. I just did a deal deep delve with a young gentleman the other day who was 43 or something $1,000 below the list price.
All right.
So we're seeing people who are thinking of selling are going to want to sell because of the possible tax changes that we talked about, 1031 going away, capital gains going up. So instead of prices going on this, rocketing up, it's rockets and feathers. They go up like rockets, come down like feathers.
Ooh, I like that.
When the price starts to come down, people are going to start saying crash, just like with appreciation. We had 16% appreciation last year. If we have 8% next year, they're going to say appreciation is down 50%. It's the end of the world. So we are seeing more inventory, and I'm seeing more asking price offers get accepted. So just like Matt said, it's not bidding wars and it's not selling immediately. And I think that started a few weeks ago, and I'm seeing more and more of it. Yeah,
what I'm seeing in my market is more listings. And this is what, again, I think it's the beauty of studying consumers for 30 years is they move in packs, right? And you just have to figure out where the pack is pointing. So right now in houses across America, more and more people are thinking they're going to list, right? It's in the numbers. Will I hit 2 million in July? No, but I bet you we do in August. So we'll see. But what is happening is mom and dad are sitting around the table and saying, honey, my house is too small. It's too this, it's too that. And then they're calling our agent, and the agent is telling them, hey, I think we can list for 199. That seller's going, no, we can't take 199. Susie down the street got 229 or 239 or whatever it was in April or March. And that agent is going to go, well, it's not April or March anymore. The market's very different. Probably not going to win that conversation because it's difficult. So they're going to list it 229 or 239. It's going to sit, right? The junk sits. And then what happens is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a price drop, and then it goes to 209 or 219 and it still sits. So this is happening across the country. That's why listings are going to expand. That's why days on market are going to happen. That's why we're going to have price drops. But at the end of this, 45, 60 days from now, 2 things will happen. One is the people that were thinking about selling their home at 229 will refuse to drop under 199, and they'll just take it off the market. Like, nobody understands. My house is special. I don't want to go anywhere. And that's fine, right? It's your choice not to sell. But then the other ones will take a price drop. And where they could have got 199, they'll probably get 188 or 187. And that's where I'm excited by what's coming. And we actually had a question in the Facebook group from somebody in the private Facebook group that we're all a part of. It says basically some questions that you can answer here are the next video. Context: the market is slowing down and things will get better in 2 or 3 months, like we are talking. Why is it imperative for us to be watching at the inflection point? I talk about my best deals are bought at the inflection points, rather than after market corrects and sellers become more aware of change realities and temper the expectations. You guys want to take a shot at that? Because I thought all 3 of us can answer instead of just me. Why don't we go to Dion first?
Sure. So you talked about finding out which way the crowd is pointing because they buy in groups. Mm-hmm. You'd want to do that, but you want to be in front of it. You don't want to be following the crowd.
Exactly. There we go. Matt, you want to say anything?
Exactly my answer. Yeah. I mean, and because the other thing too is that what most people don't realize is that when you're on the back end of that group, rates are already higher, right? And also there's usually that much more inventory. And the problem is that, again, if you're setting the trend in the beginning, then you're likely to get that desperation person, as opposed to everyone kind of being more accepting of well, this is where we're at.
Right.
You want that person that's desperate in the beginning where they're just like, I think it's falling. Our activities completely dropped off. What are we going to do? We need to consider any offer and
I'll
let's
take
do a quick
whatever
price
I can
reduction.
get.
Exactly. Let's do a quick price reduction. And then the rates are still what they currently are now, which is
Yeah.
not 30, 60 days from now or 90 days when the group really starts to move.
Yeah.
By that point, usually your rates are going to be half a point to a point higher, right? I mean, that's what
Yeah.
happened in 07, 08. That's what
Yeah.
happened in 08.
Yeah. The whole key to this of investing in front of an inflection point is to be leading the pack.
Yep.
I want to be ahead of them all. And again, what this really means is, right, to use the earlier example of 199, 229 and all of that, is I might make 7 or 8 offers and 6 of them will end up being that house that's going to come off the market, right? They're just not that motivated. But what I will find is the 2 people that like, dude, we got to get out. We got a job in Texas that's waiting for us. We got to go. And here's the only offer that makes sense. So
Right.
I want to lead that. I want to get my choice instead of taking the leftovers, right? I don't want to pick through the leftovers. I don't want any competition. And I want to set the pace. That's why you look every day. I hate this freaking idea. I'm just going to wait for it to all settle out. What are you doing? Why would you do that? It's
I'm
crazy.
going to beat you.
Yeah. Good luck picking up the leftovers.
I have a lot of times where people say, I'm going to wait for the crash and then buy. Someone you're trying to help get into real estate, find financial freedom. And I say, that's perfect. Just like everybody who heard about a stock that went up a bunch, so they bought it when it was cheap.
Yes.
Like that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
It's too late now. You don't have a time travel machine. You need to be doing the work every day.
Yeah. So then the last thing I talked about happening, I talked about this a year ago, is I fully expected housing authority. I expected the housing authority program, I'll call it Section 8 here. I think it's called Section 8 across the country, to get increased monies. And just today I found a post where they're looking to give that fund or that organization or whatever government agency, maybe, I don't know, another $5.4 billion, potentially helping several 100,000 families. So for the first time in years, they're really looking to expanding that program, giving housing prices and rents. And I think it's a good thing, but I also think it's a sign of what's kind of out there. So do you either of you have Section 8 tenants, Dion?
Oh yeah. I keep about a third of my units in Section 8, a third
Okay.
military, and then a third working or retired.
Very cool. On purpose.
On purpose. And you can't run an ad that
Yeah.
says military only, Section 8 only, but I can call the housing authority and say, I have a unit coming available.
Yeah,
I can
there you go.
advertise on base and that tells you what kind of tenant you're going to get.
There you go. And Matt, do you have any Section 8 yet?
Out of all of my units, I have 0 right now. But I met,
Yeah.
with,
Yeah,
but I
go
met
ahead.
with them yesterday.
What'd you find out?
So yeah, I think it's literally the conversation I had with her. I was just very transparent and I said, I've been trying to help people for about 7 years and I get burned every time.
Yeah,
So it's time to get you guys involved.
exactly. There you go.
And so she was like, really? And I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to give you 5 units. Here's the breakdown. Here's where they are. She's like, honestly, she looked at me like I was riding on a white horse.
Yeah.
And she said, we have 150 vouchers. That's what they call it. So it used to be Section 8.
Vouchers.
Now it's the voucher program.
Yep.
So she said, we have 150 vouchers. She says, I have 20 that are about to expire. And if they expire, we have to go
They
through the
don't-
whole entire process again.
Yeah.
So we literally turned up the heat and we're just like, okay, these are 5 units. And she was great. She was great to work with, super attentive. They will absolutely work with you as a
Oh
landlord.
yeah.
They were great. I mean, it was honestly a great experience. And so I'm just going through it the very first time, filled out all my paperwork last night. And so she talked to a bunch of people and I've already gotten emails from a half a dozen of them that were doing showings this weekend.
That's awesome.
So I won't just refer you to a video, Matt, and say, hey, I've got a video on how to do this, but here's a really quick tip. This is something that will cut a couple of weeks off of the process.
Yeah.
They're going to send an inspector to your property to make sure the bedrooms
Yes.
qualify as bedrooms, all the doors and windows work, and the electric panel is secured. If there's anything you need to fix, a loose light fixture, a door that
Mhm.
doesn't work right, they're going to say, let's schedule a reinspection.
Mhm.
Tell them, when I fix it, can I send you a video? Every single
Yeah.
time so far, that's eliminated a 2-week wait. You send the video, 10 minutes later, you have an approval.
Perfect. Love it.
Yeah.
We do that. So in New Hampshire, we actually do that a lot with inspectors. We do that a lot with inspectors. They're really so busy and so overworked that a lot of times if you can, really prove that it's the place and prove that it's fixed and pull and tug or do whatever you need to do with whatever you're touching, inspectors have been really, really good. I feel horrible for them because all these towns with taxes, they're so understaffed that anything I can do to help them out and speed up the process for them to get an approval and to get something done, we'd always do it. So that's a great tip, Dion.
Yeah. And closing on Section 8 or Housing Authority or voucher program for me, I've always had 30. I think the highest I was at was just over 40%, but it's always been above 30. I'd be fine if 100% of my units were Section 8. I take Section 8 in all of my units. It's just the right. I grew up in that kind of environment, and I love providing above, I call it pride of ownership rentals.
Yes.
On purpose, right? So I love the program, and lo and behold, it was really good to know I had Section 8 tenants paying in February, March last year when we didn't know what would happen to the cash tenants. I was like, good, thank God that money showed up. Oh, that was hilarious. So again, as we're sitting here in the second half, 40-year mortgages, housing inventory coming, more housing assistance coming. What do you guys think demand will be like as we kind of get into the end of the year? You think it falls off a cliff, picks up, stays flat? We'll go to Matt first.
I think it's nuts. I think it's going to stay nuts. I really do. I think because, Coldwell Banker, if you believe what their study said, which is 68% of people believe they're going to move in the next year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
68%? What are you people nuts?
Yeah, that's a lot of U-Haul trucks.
That's a lot. I mean, honestly, I need to invest in U-Haul, even if half that comes true. Holy cow. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's going to be a huge drive. I think there's going to be people that are, from a rental perspective, Mike, I think there's going to be people that are upgrading.
Yes.
I think that's going to happen. I think there's all the new entry into the market as well. And I think that there's going to be congestion at the top part of that, which is going from a nice rental to a home. I think there's going to be congestion there because usually, there's always your links, your chain's only as strong as your weakest link. And that's where I think the weak link is that enough inventory to get those people out of product into something else. And so I think there's going to be a log jam in what I would call value properties. That's what I really try and specialize in, which is I try and give you an A at a B price.
There you go. Awesome.
So,
how about you, Dan? What you seeing?
I think demand's actually going to continue to be through the roof. I agree with Matt on this. We talked about whichever way the crowd is going, we want to be leading it as investors. That's why we do the work every day. There are millions of people who aren't doing the work every day, but have seen for the last year which way the crowd's going. So real estate has proven to be an appreciable asset with stability. So hedge funds like Blackstone basically are starting to invest in this. Why wouldn't people follow the herd like they do in every other investing strategy? So demand's going to stay as high as it is now, at least.
If they're making the
demand's going to stay up, and I think
if they're making the bet on 17,000 homes, don't you think you should probably make the bet on one?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of why I like one rental at a time. I just get brought up in the updraft.
Rising tide.
But yeah, there you go. I don't know if you guys saw it. I did a live stream. There was a particular company, I forget the name now, but they bought 4,000 homes. It was a hedge fund, bought 4,000 homes in the crash. It was all older stock, right? So they've held it for a while. They just sold 1,000 of them, their last 1,000 for $300 million. And guess what they're going to do with the money?
Buy more.
They're going to buy more, but they're going to do build for rent. They want new stock. I'm telling you, some hedge fund's going to buy a builder and says, I want you to build just for me. It's going to happen.
Well, yeah, Mike, I think that's 100% what's going to happen, because I think that as you look at the situation, lumber down 40%, now it's not so daunting to start buying, and to be able to start building stuff. And I watched that developer that you have from Austin. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it here, like in our area, there is hard to find, like every piece of land it's not built on has about a story as long as your arm,
Yeah.
It was this, it was that. And so the fact where he's buying 45 minutes outside of Austin now, holy cow. Yeah. And I think that with lumber, basically let's call it what it is. If lumber's down 40%, that's a crash in lumber.
No question.
It's still twice what it cost, but it's not 4x what it costs. And this means that that's likely charges that those builders can now pass on to home buyers.
No question. Yeah. Very, very fun, guys. I love this conversation. So how can they find you? Get part of your world? We'll start with Dion.
I'm very active in Bigger Pockets and here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
And Matt?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and lumberjacklandlord.com, where the fun never stops.
Yeah, do me a favor, guys. Subscribe to these guys' channels. They're putting out amazing content, and they're part of our family. And they're creating great content for the course, how to get started one rental at a time. So thank you very much, guys.
Welcome.
Thanks, Mike.